So good morning and welcome again to the Friday, February 17th board meeting, public board meeting of the Clemency Board. I'd like to take attendance of board members present so we can make sure we have a quorum to proceed. I'll call the name of board members. Please let me know if you are here. Felisa Carter.
Here.
Brian Ferguson. Michael Porcello.
Here, apologies.
No problem. Indira Nard.
Here.
Katya Semyonova.
Here.
Ilana Settenberg.
Here.
Excellent. So we have a quorum. I know that Emily Gunston is not here. I did not call her name. I know she told us ahead of time that she was unable to join today. I also want to acknowledge that we have some public members here, and I see Michael, who's the representative from the council, who has joined us today, and happy to have you here. Thank you for joining. One second. So the public meeting will go from 10:30 to 11:30, and the second hour will be closed to the public between 11:30 and 12:30. I want to just provide a reminder that a few housekeeping rules. First, please make sure your microphones are muted when you're not speaking. If you have any questions, hold them, and we'll have a period for questions. However, feel free to take advantage of the chat function to send questions in, and we'll happily address them during the question and answer portion of the meeting. So for new business, we have an update on the combined release forms. At our last board meeting, board member Ilana Settenberg raised concerns about the government's ability to object to the release of sealed records that the board may request. I'll turn it over to our staff director, Parisha Dixon, to provide the board with any update on this matter. Parisha.
Yes, thank you. So that's right. At the last meeting, the concern about the government's ability to object to sealed records releasing, excuse me, was raised. And I'll say in advance, my throat is hurting pretty bad. So if I'm talking low and you can't hear me, please just let me know. But from this, the question from last week was not necessarily one about the release of the records form that the applicant is to sign, but rather more so the court's internal process, what happens after we make that request, and after the applicant, signs saying it's okay to release them. Once it goes to the court, what's their process? That I still don't have an answer to. I haven't met with Ms. Settenberg. I do plan to meet with, and I've talked to Katya from PDS, and so I plan to, once I have the meeting with General Counsel from Superior Court, just tie both board members in so that we can sort of figure out some sort of resolve. But from our perspective, I asked the court, we asked the court for a process. The process has been formed internally, I suppose, their own process, but from our end, it's just the form. So we make the request and they do what they do on their end. And so what they actually do is what we need an answer to, and we'll get that once we have the meeting. So we have not yet had the meeting with General Counsel. Once we do, we'll provide an update.
That's perfect. And thank you again for handling that. And as you know, I'm happy to be part of any of those meetings. So thanks for moving that forward.
Awesome.
Great. Any other questions for Parisha? Okay, great. The second item on our agenda is an update on the Clemency community event. As you know, we held our first community event, Clemency and Other Remedies, Options for Incarcerated Persons and Returning Citizens. It was last Wednesday, February 8th at the Dorothy Height Library in Northeast. And it was, I would have to characterize it as an unmitigated success. I want to give a big shout out to Katya, to Ilana, to Felisa, and to Emily, who all attended. A double shout out to Felisa, who also became involved as our timekeeper. And a thank you to all the stakeholders who attended. It was really pretty awesome. The panel was so varied and so wonderful, each person in their own way. We had a person who has received a pardon as the opening speaker. I think his name is Mr. Brown. He gave an impassioned and flesh and blood understanding of why this was so important. And we really felt like this was just an amazing, amazing event. I'll tell you, driving up to a public meeting on a weeknight in the dark where it's cold and you just don't know who to expect in the room. And I walked in the room and there were 50 people in the room. And I just thought, this is so exciting to me, and it really helps me. And I hope you remember the reasons why we started on this endeavor in the first place. Through the course of that evening, we heard human stories about real need for clemency and for the options that are available to people through this system. We saw flesh and blood examples of why that is necessary in people's lives, how it impacts their family. One gentleman talked about, this could be a sentence for not only me, but for my children and perhaps my grandchildren, because without a pardon, I may not be able to create the sort of wealth that my family needs to live in the middle class in the United States. So it was absolutely a wonderful evening from my perspective. I'd welcome other board members who are present to please jump in and give your reflections and feedback.
I agree with Patrick. I think it was just an incredibly informative and impactful event. And I know that there was a lot of work that went into it. So I just want to recognize all that work as well. Thanks for all of that work. I think it was a really great event. I'm really excited. The pardon attorney was able to join as well. And I think that was really important perspective. So thanks again for all of you. I was pleased to be there. And I think it was a really fantastic event.
This is Felisa. I thought it was great too. And I was happy to join in with vigorous timekeeping efforts.
Which we all know in a public meeting is extremely important. So, absolutely. I also want to point out the Public Defender Service had not one, but 3 presenters, each one just terrific and really, really helpful and really great information. The pardon attorney was gracious and mentioned her status as a DC resident and brought her son with her to this, which really I thought was a special thing, that there was a place for younger people involved. And the diversity of people in the room was really pretty amazing as well. So it was just fantastic. So if there are no other comments from board members, I'll turn it over to Patricia to provide us with more community event updates.
Thank you, Patrick. I want to give kind of a triple shout out to Felisa. I meant to do this the last meeting, I didn't, but she has been, I mean, jumping in at the event was great, but Felisa's been behind the scenes with me since I came on a couple months ago, reaching out to, doing outreach, reaching out to community organizations, having meetings with them. I mean, not afraid to sort of jump in and get her hands wet. And so I think that she deserves yet another shout out for that work. Also Emily, who actually presented on behalf of the board. Shout out to her. She's not here with us today, but that was great for her to be able to do that, jump in without any qualms or anything like that. Another shout out to our general counsel team, who was right behind me as soldiers putting that room together, and handling the attendees coming in and coming out, answer questions, all of the logistics. That's a lot of work, and it took a lot, and I had a team behind me, only 2 of which are on the call, Tanat and Lisa, but definitely deserving. And also Morka, of course, who were great co-facilitators at the event, who have put in a lot of insight to sort of what we do, how we target sort of what, particularly our outreach, the communities like that of needing service, they've been really helpful for that and have been around since day one. And of course, they're very helpful the day of the event too. So I don't see anyone on the call, but also deserving of a shout out. Our event had 50 people sign in, right? And everyone didn't sign in. It wasn't a requirement, but that's huge. That's really big. I think that particularly with the week that we had to promote, like a week and a half, I think it was, I was unsure, let me be honest, about, getting the word out in masses, but I think it shows all the work that we've put in beforehand, work from our community members and our stakeholders. I'll give another shout out to Professor Moyd, who is on the call, very helpful in getting the word out as well, and assisting with sort of the last minute creations of like flyers and communications things. We were all a team effort. I think to have such a large turnout with such a short time, I think speaks volumes to that. Since the event, I will say we've gotten lots of inquiries, well, a lot more inquiries. It's sped up. I only see it going up from here. Our office has gotten a call from someone, I'm sorry, I don't have the exact prison up, but like an incarcerated person who was looking for an application. Family members, calls and emails I've gotten from family members asking about applications, asking about the process. We have the communication system, from BOP facilities to the outside is called CoreSlink. I've gotten, as of yesterday, 5 different inquiries from CoreSlink, but I just looked like 2 seconds ago and just got 2 more this morning. And these are all from various persons incarcerated in BOP facilities. That's huge, right? And so I only see it going up from here. I will say that there are some, the inquiries vary. I've seen some persons who recognize that they don't have DC code offenses, they have federal offenses, and asking for sort of help in navigating the actual clemency process, the federal clemency process, which, is obviously separate from the DC Clemency Board's process. Other things that I've seen, or issues that I've seen come up that I anticipate will continue are, of course, family members who are having difficulties contacting their loved ones who are incarcerated, and getting that information to them, but wanting us to get the information to at least the family members. And so these are issues that I'm going to work through. And I welcome any sort of feedback, but work through to see how we can navigate them going forward. I think that at a minimum, if someone doesn't qualify for us for one reason or another, it's still one more person that knows about the board, knows about the process, and potentially can continue to spread the word. Issues such as family members who can't get access to their loved ones, but those loved ones are in BOP facilities. I have access to all the reentry coordinators, and so I've already made contact with them because of the event. And so I will continue to do that and potentially use that as an avenue to get information to those who are inside of their assigned facilities. Yeah, so those are issues that I've seen come up. I mean, and other inquiries have been true inquiries of, hey, this is my story, right? They're telling all of their story, and me providing them with the link and in their website and the application, and telling them, encouraging them to put that into applications so that we can submit it. But it's so far so good, and I'm again hopeful that it will just continue to go up. Aside from the potential new applications that we could receive, and the word being spread, I think some other wins from the event is that our listserv now, we now have a listserv. Clemency Board now has a listserv of over 100 different contacts, whether that's stakeholders, whether that's people in the community, individual persons in the community, or community organizations. Those who we have interacted with in one way or another, who we could potentially promote to sort of going forward. And so we're working on I was speaking with my office about potentially creating an actual listserv in the way that to make it sort of just information dissemination easier. But that's great. I mean, over 100 contacts in such a short time, I think that's a win. We have also had communications from other agencies asking about the DC District Clemency Board and potentially wanted to facilitate other events, right? So other events, promotion of the board, of the process, and of what attendee told me at the event, a second chance, promotion of that second chance that Clemency can potentially offer. And so that's great. We also have video footage from the event. The event was recorded. Most of the event was recorded. The only one agency opted out of recording, that was PDS's presentation, but everything else was recorded. And so we have that raw footage, working to get that put up on, or I guess edited and then put onto our website as continual information dissemination, right? Continual promotion And eventually, I think our site, having the Clemency Board site be sort of a one-stop shop for that information, so that it's all in one place, and those who potentially maybe can't attend in-person events can get to, or are not, well, can't attend for one reason or another, can get to that and can access that information. We are, excuse me, I am also working to potentially build a process where the applicants have access to attorneys to assist in their applications. And so I know we had talked about that maybe some months ago, about reaching out to the different schools, which we've done. In one way or another, that process is not, I don't think it's a good fit for the schools and the law school clinics right now. And so trying to build out some sort of process where we are kind of almost disconnected, but there's like a third party or agency that can do the connection of the applicants to the attorneys, so that those who are looking to apply can have access to an attorney. So that's in the works. I've been working with Professor Smith, Tiffany Smith at UDC. She has really taken an interest in clemency. She's done clemency applications before in Ohio, and actually was successful at one. And so she really does have an interest and a love for it and wants to sort of help take that on. So I've been working with her. And we've also connected with a professor in Villanova's law school, who has a clemency clinic actually, and is really interested in working with the district's clemency board in a way that either she takes on application, or at least assisting in that process to connect the attorneys to the application. So that's great. It's just the beginning, but again, I think it's something that came out of all of the connections and all of the outreach that happened as a result of the event.
That's
So
fantastic.
oh, sorry.
Nope.
I was just gonna say the last thing is that you all know we have the Clemency Board is going to host 3 more of the same events in the different quadrants. I've been working with Director Carey with Morka to lock down those areas. So we now have the various areas in the city that we're going to target, and we are now looking for facilities in the different areas so that we can then secure a date, right? So I will say that the first date will be the first week of June, but we don't have the exact date. The second event would be the first week of June. The third event is going to be sometime early September, and then the last will be in November. So any other feedback you guys have about the event, you're welcome to share now, or if not, I mean, you all and anyone else who may watch this later can send it to me at my email. I'll share it, Perisha, perisha.dixon@dc.gov. I'm more than happy to, and I would love if you guys go home and think of some more things, some feedback about the event, that we can, make sure the next one is just as strong, if not stronger.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it. And I just really, I want to commend, Parisha's only been with us for 2 months as the staff director, and the outreach efforts that she's made and the real networking with some of our partners in this process have been truly amazing. And she's working hard for the board. And I really appreciate the board members who have been able to jump in and to support her in these efforts in the community. I think it's really, really important. Before we finish with the event, I do want to call out Mayor's Office on Returning Citizen Affairs, especially Director Lamont Carey was really tremendous in both emceeing the event with me, but also to watch his personal contacts with people in the community and people responding to him in such a really, really warm and wonderful way. And I noticed that a few of those people who were with Director Carey also brought other people with them. And I think that very much is this going to be an outreach effort that requires that sort of bringing people along. And I appreciate the work he did and his team did to join us in this effort. So big shout out to him as well. Okay, Any comments anybody has on the event? Anything else?
I just had a question.
Yeah.
Is there a video available online? I know there was video being recorded. I looked at the website. I didn't see it there. And this part 2, do you expect that there might be a hybrid component to future meetings? I know that's something we had discussed, but I leave it to you. I was just curious.
Yeah, those are great questions. So we do have the raw footage, but it's very raw, and I'm not a video editor. So my plan is to sort of get it edited in a way that it can therefore then be posted onto the website. So it's not there yet, but that's the hope for it to be there so that our website can have that information as sort of a one-stop shop. The second question was about, a hybrid component. That's a great question. So there were we've gotten an overwhelmingly positive response about the event, but some things that I've noticed, right? Is there a Zoom link option? Questions like that. A lot of family members can't make it out late at night, or live streaming option for those who are even incarcerated in BOP facilities. That's the hope. I mean, we will, that's something that we are going to look into for the next event to make it better. Either some sort of live stream or some sort of, well, I guess Zoom link would be sort of live streaming in a way too, whether it's YouTube or Zoom link. But if not, again, that's the hope for our website to have it, right? Like, cause it's the same event generally, more or less. Maybe we might have, I'm on the hunt right now for the only 2 people who were granted a clemency, excuse me, with DC code offenses. I'm on the hunt for them. I would love to have them. Norman Brown was amazing, and I want him to continue, but his offenses are Maryland federal offenses. So maybe we will add one more speaker like in that way. But as for the actual information, I think the lineup that we had and we will continue to have, and that information will be the same. So it'll be the same on our website.
Thanks.
easy.
I wasn't trying to overwhelm you in your workload. I know you have a lot going on. I was just curious. Thanks. That's great. Perfect.
Oh yeah, not a problem.
Thank you for that question. Okay, I want to move to the next thing on our agenda, which is other outreach efforts. We currently have committees that the staff director and I have discussed restructuring. We're going to send those out to the board. So you should look for an email, board members, and I really encourage board members to become active members of some of those subcommittees. There should be something for everyone, I think, no matter how you arrived at this board. I think there's plenty of work to do, and there's plenty of responsibilities that we want to start engaging in. So you'll be seeing something by email from me shortly. I really think, the board will be as successful as board members' involvement. I really, really do appreciate what people have done to date. So, Patricia, are there other upcoming events you wanted to encourage the board to join in?
Yeah, well, I think last week I spoke about some of the things that were in the works. They are still in the works because we just had a meeting 2 weeks ago with the emergency board meeting, but February 25th, Christian Legal Aid is hosting the record sealing event. It is from 11 to 2. You don't have to stay the whole time if you can't. But I would love for a board member to join me there to discuss the clemency board or just man the table, right? Like it's set up in a way that there's tables that those who attend can come and pick up resources and ask questions, right? And also we're able to say some words. So it would be helpful to have another person there to help with that, to let those who are learning about record sealing also learn about clemency. Oftentimes record sealing is a no, right, to some people. But it would be really helpful to say no, but right, here's potentially another chance. I'm still working with the general counsel with DOC to get us access to those who incarcerated persons in the DOC facility, so DC jail, to talk about clemency, to talk about the application process and answer any questions that may come up there. I don't have a date yet. The time frame is March, so some point in March. And so I will, again, in the emails that I send, you'll get one about the DOC visit. And if anyone wants to join, I would really encourage board members to get active in that as well. So those are the near future sort of events so far.
Any questions for Parisha? Okay. All right. So the next part of the agenda is our public comments section. Members of the public, Professor Boyd, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. It's always good to just listen to what the Clemency Board is doing. I was not able to attend the event, but was certainly glad to help out, and all of the feedback that I received was just very positive. I just wanted to, if I could, just emphasize that, you know, I've been attending these board meetings since they started. And one of the things that we, when I was at Howard, we continue to emphasize how important it was, we think, for the board to have a full-time staff person as a part of the board. And so I did testify this past week before the DC Council and emphasize the fact that since you all have had a full-time staff person, how much of a difference it has made. And so I think that what you all have discussed today with the event and the planning of future community events really is evidence that having a full-time staff person has made a big difference in the work that you're doing.
Thank you very much for that. And we appreciate you making the public comments that you have, and appreciate the role that you played since the very beginning of not only the board, but prior to the board and when the legislation was being considered creating the board. Your commitment to that has been long and serious and legion. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
First, I just want a personal note here. We will be doing council testimony at some point in the near future. Is that correct? Can we let board members and the public know about that?
Yes, definitely. I'm sorry. Thank you for bringing that up. We have, I'm sorry, I'm dying. We have oversight hearings scheduled for March 1st, where we will testify for the board. I will welcome if you all know of anyone who would be willing or interested in testifying on our behalf, to let me know. Happy to contact and reach out to them. We have to give that information to council shortly, very soon. And if you all have anything sort of that maybe you're doing on the side that I have no idea about, maybe you're meeting with a bunch of different agencies and community organizations, please let me know. I would also ask you to, I believe I wrote this in an email before, but please verify that I have all of the community organizations and stakeholders that you all originally met with to inform them about the Clemency Board, so that we have our numbers accurate, right? How much outreach we have truly done. I would love to give very accurate numbers. And I know that you all did a lot of work prior to me even getting here. And so I want to make sure that my records are accurate so that we can give accurate records and numbers to council.
Great. And I want to point out Michael Porcello is here as a board member representing council member. Michael, I don't know if you have any comments or questions.
No, yeah, the council member and the committee are very excited to hear testimony from the board. I think this is the first time that the board will testify at an oversight hearing. I will say, just if folks are, considering whether to attend, this is not the council is going to be a positive, friendly back and forth. I don't want folks to think that they're going to get, if they came to testify, that there would be, a lot of gotcha moments or anything like that. It's going to be a really positive conversation to dive into the work of the Clemency Board to date and how the council and the committee can better support the board, and especially looking into the budget season and things like that as we consider whether there's any additional resources that are needed. But I just wanted folks, because there are a number of commissions that I've spoken to over the past month where folks were concerned, am I going to need to know all these stats and things like that? It's great. We will dive in and have some questions, but don't be scared off from testifying, because I think it'll be a positive, experience, and one that we're hoping to be fruitful towards enhancing the work of the board.
Thanks for that. Appreciate that very much. Okay, so if are there any other public comments? I don't think there's any other members of the public here. Any other? Okay. Before we make a motion to adjourn, I would just want to get a date for our next public meeting. I'm just going to my calendar right now. I was thinking 4 weeks out. Is that appropriate, Parisha?
I think that's fine, if the board members' schedules permit.
Sure. So 1, 2. So we're talking about Friday, March 17th. We would say 10:30 a.m. Is there any board member who's unable to make that meeting? March 17th, 10:30 a.m.
That's fine for me.
That should work for me. I'm sorry about my video. I'm not sure what happened.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you.
Me too. That's fine for me.
Thank you, dear. Alana? Works, okay. And Felisa?
Works for me.
Okay, great. So we'll plan on that. Okay, we have completed our agenda. Unless the board has any other comments, we can adjourn now. If I get a motion to adjourn, and then we'll reconvene board members in the closed meeting. Motion to adjourn?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great, we're adjourned. Thank you very much. We'll see everyone again in the public meeting on March 17th at 10:30. Thank you.